To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Reverend Sean Whittington's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Reverend Sean, the Rev. Welcome to my haunted house, my very haunted house. And it could get active. It's been active today, and it could have something to do with my guest, which I'm going to bring on here very shortly, and you're going to love her. What else do I want to tell you guys? Thank you all for tuning in. I don't have a show without you guys, so God bless you all for that. The prayer urn. Let's do the prayer urn today. It's back. It took last week off for Halloween because I had a prayer pumpkin, which was cool. But let's see who's in the prayer urn today. Okay. Brian B. This is a good one. I'm glad I pulled Brian. I ask you guys all the time to pray for my former, current, and future students that are taking my Introduction to Spiritual Warfare course. Brian happens to be one of my students. Lifelong paranormal experiencer, very religious, very spiritual person, great guy. Happens to be very gifted at performing minor deliverances, and he's done many, many of them and brought to many situations like that to closure. There's something a lot of you may not know about us in this field of deliverance ministry. We're always under attack. All of us have a wanted poster of us hanging up in hell. Having said that, we're all human, and sometimes things just catch up on you. You see one client after another, all dealing with these malevolent issues. Excuse me. It can get to you, and it can get to you, and you don't even realize it's getting to you. Along with these subtle attacks, people really close to you having issues, life happening. Next thing you know, you're very depressed. You go through a whole string of clients you're not able to help for whatever reason. And so at times you start doubting your faith or questioning your faith, if you will. So that's where Brian's at the time. Brian, if you're watching, buddy, I got a wonderful prayer for you, and I'm going to email it to you after the show. But listen to the words if you're watching to this prayer, and everyone else out there for this prayer. If you want to add any positive love and light to this prayer for Brian while I'm saying it, just reach out, touch your computer screen, close your eyes, bow your head, and we'll get going. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. O God, send forth your Holy Spirit into my heart that I may perceive, into my mind that I may remember, and into my soul that I may mediate. Teach, guide, and direct my thoughts and senses from beginning to end. May your grace ever help and correct me, and may I be strengthened now with wisdom from on high, for the sake of your infinite mercy. Amen. And you guys know the rule. Everybody gets a candle. Brian, this candle is for you, brother. It will burn with me here and enjoy the show. And after the show, I will put it in the room with all the other candles burning for people. It'll burn until it burns out. Until then, may the Holy Spirit enter and intervene in your life and remain with you on the remainder of this journey and on to the next. Amen. Okay, if there's anything you want to know about me and my wife and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. If you go to visit the website and you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it and send in a small donation. My wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So donations are greatly appreciated from the bottom of our heart, and we put that money to good use, I assure you. In addition to being an ordained exorcist, I'm also a certified spiritual advisor, intuitive coach. If you're having issues of a spiritual nature not attached to the paranormal and you'd like to speak to the Rev about that, there's a place there on the website that you can make an appointment with me. But don't leave the website without navigating over to the page called the WSE course/book. On that page, you'll find the ghost store. I challenge you to find something in there that you don't think is cool that you want to purchase. I have had nobody ever knock on my door and throw anything back at me that they bought online on my website. So that's the good news. A lot of cool stuff on there if you go for that sort of stuff. But scroll down a little bit further and you'll run into my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, the scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, owner of Stellium Books, my publisher. Please don't let that scare you off from buying a copy of it. It's a very different kind of feel good story. A lot of good versus evil where good wins. But if you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, purchase a copy. You can get it a little less expensive at Amazon, but you can also get it on the website, autographed by yours truly. And it comes enclosed in a house blessing kit, which is very cool. But the really cool thing is part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of the book goes to support stjude.org and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and that's a beautiful thing. And I added a new charity to that. I've been in the animal care industry most of my adult life, so this was a no-brainer. I added the ASPCA, so you get to help the animals a little bit too. That's cool. Alrighty, what else do I want to tell you guys? Worldwide Society of Exorcists you'll find on that page. I'm the founding member. I offer a 12-week online course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, through the WSE. That's a course for all of you warriors for Christ out there that are feeling a hunger and a true calling to want to have more knowledge when it comes to drawing your line in the sand, making a stand, circling the wagons, and putting up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. That's the course for you. All of my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing. It's beautiful, along with some very special blessed parting gifts that you can only get from yours truly, the Rev. You can enroll in the course there at the website, or if you'd like to read more about it before making that type of commitment, there is a Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page, and you can go there and read a little bit more about the course. Most importantly, please keep all of my past, current, and future students in your prayers. Thank you very much. Okay, now is the time, because of all you guys tuned in for this. You didn't tune in for me, I know that. I'm so excited to have her here. She is a lifelong paranormal experiencer, paranormal authority, medium, very gifted medium. You all know her, you all love her. Co-host of The Outer Realm with Michelle, Derochers, and Amelia Pisano. Brothers and sisters, please give a wonderful paranormal ministry welcome to the one and only Amelia Pisano. Amelia, are you with us?
I'm here. Hi, how are you? Thank
I'm
you for
doing
having me.
great. I am a blessed person, and how I know that is because you're
Oh my
here.
gosh, no, thank you. I am so honored to be here. I don't get this opportunity too often. I don't have the time to fit in, so your time slot is perfect. Thank
That
you.
works. That
And I
works.
hear really good things about you from Michelle. So
Uh-oh. And
yeah,
earlier today you had you posted a promo for the show. You called me, was it a fabulous fellow?
fabulous fella. Yeah,
I am I don't think anybody's ever
use
slapped me
that
with
word.
the double F. The double F before, so I love
Yeah.
that. But you
Oh,
look
thank
very pretty today. How do you
Oh, thank
feel?
you. So do you. I'm feeling okay. It's the end of the week, but I'm still working tonight. So, we work all the time, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. You are up north in Canada, correct?
I'm Southern Ontario. So I'm just about 45 minutes north of Buffalo, so I'm really not that far up north. North for
Um,
you.
are the borders open yet?
Yes, they
How
are.
have
They've
you
been
been
open for a while.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
How the last year and a half, we all wish we could have done a do-over. How have you done throughout the whole pandemic, COVID thing, and everybody that's close to you that you love? How's everyone doing?
It was a tough one. I lost my father a year ago
Oh
at
my
the end of this
gosh.
month, and it was tough. It was hard, like everybody. We're
Yeah.
all coping, and it was hard because I mean he lived a good 90 years, thank God, and he used to always say to me, "If I could live 90 years, I'll be happy." So I know he got his wish. I lost my mom when I was young, so this was a different type of loss, and I cared for him, which was tough, with dementia and stuff like that. But it was a tough year because of the closures, not being able to visit him and not being able, to go in, and just the video calling, and sometimes that's not enough when they're suffering with Alzheimer's or dementia. You have to be really there all the time,
Yeah.
and absorb everything you can. But it's been tough, like it is for everyone being locked down. But there's a lot of blessings that have come out of it. You get to spend more time with your immediate family. You're talking more. You're communicating more. I'm I'm blessed for that. I'm lucky with that everything was smooth. I've heard a lot of divorces happen in the last year.
Yeah.
That didn't happen here, not yet. But I always tell them not yet. But yeah, no, I think I've had my ups and downs just like anyone else. I'm more concerned about other people in my life, about how they've dealt with it.
I didn't expect we were, first of all, God bless you. I'm so sorry to hear about your father.
Thank you.
Um, and if this is too touchy a subject to talk about, just let me
No,
know.
not
Move
at
on
all.
off it. That's something you and I have in common. My father lived well into his 90s. My mother well into her 80s. At the very end, they both had their issues. The mind's always the one thing that goes first
Oh,
in
I'm so
many
sorry.
circumstances. So
Yeah.
I was lucky to not only my younger brother lives here in Vegas too, so he moved in with them for a little while, but I was juggling, taking care of my wife who was sick, my
Yeah,
my
that's a
day
lot.
job at the time, and trying to help them. It was really rough. But since my parents had passed, my sisters are both my sisters are very spiritually sensitive, intuitive.
Nice.
So, but they used to tell me, they know how hard it hit me to lose them. But
I'm
they
so
said, don't
sorry.
conjure them. Don't let them rest in peace. Don't conjure them. If they want to come to you, fine, but don't conjure them. So I never did. But someone plays with my hair all the time. And I know that's my mother. She did that all my life growing up.
Oh, she's with you
She would
right
just play
now.
with my hair.
Yeah.
And my father,
Excuse me.
he comes to me in dreams. And I had a weird dream about him. Well, I used to get launched out of bed by somebody shooting a gun. Like somebody really walk into my house, put a gun by my head,
Wow.
shoot it off. It would launch me out of the bed, but my wife doesn't wake up. My mastiffs don't wake up. I'm like shaking because it was so loud and real.
Yeah.
And after that happened a few times, I realized I when I went to this started happening before his funeral, and then I went to his funeral and they gave him a 21 gun salute.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's what I figured that was. But then it's happened since, so I know. Okay, I get it.
This
Uh,
is my this is
but
my sign for you.
I get this weird dream. He looks happy, but there's this long dark road. It's not a desolate dirt road, but it's just a like a regular street. It's at night, but there's street lights and some homes, but no cars, and it's at night, and I'm walking, and there's side streets. And as I get 1 or 2 blocks before this one street, I see him walk out and
Hmm.
make a right. And now I'm following him for a little bit. Finally, I go, "Hey, Dad." He stops, turns around, sees me, walks back to me. I mean, we get face to face.
Yeah.
It is real. And I go, "What are you doing? Are you lost?" And he says to me, with that smile, "Maybe I am." And then I
Oh,
wake up. But I've never, and that's happened a few times.
Yes.
And I know he's not. I know he's with my mom, and they're both doing well. But that's an interesting dream. A lot of people. I'm not a good dream interpreter, but I just let it happen what it is. I mean, it's I don't get the spidey senses that I should take something ominous from that dream.
Not ominous. It's actually very pleasant. I'm not a dream interpreter per se, but my aunt and my mother were. And my aunt's still alive, but she's in a home now with dementia. And she used to say to me that if you see a past loved one in a dream and you chase after them and you call them out, if you're not following them, you're still alive. If you're following them, chances are you're crossing over and they're assisting you. And I was just like, you know how many times I followed my mother? I'm like, what? So,
you just
but
shocked me there for a second because I am in this dream. Well, not at first. I'm
yeah,
just walking, and then
no,
he comes out, but I end up for a small bit of time following him.
yes, but he stops you and says, yeah, maybe I am lost. My aunt would say that you are safe, that he's stopping you from premature crossing over,
Huh.
so to speak.
Very interesting.
It's just the culture, the way the Italian culture works on how they see things. Like I would always, before my mom passed away, I was 27 when I lost my mom. My mom had me at 40, so she was 66. She just was ready to turn 67 when she passed away. And I I dreamt of the year before of my dad passing. I was so afraid because he was a year younger than her that
Wow.
he would not reach retirement because he always talked about it. And I knew people who passed away just before his generation, really hardworking, where they had 2 and 3 jobs as we were growing up. We didn't really see our fathers because they were working so hard. They came here with nothing. And my mother said to me, "What happened in the dream?" And I said, "Well, Ma, I walked up to his casket and I was sobbing uncontrollably, uncontrollably. And I could see him. And what stayed so relevant in my mind was his arms crossed. I knew he had passed. The way he was placed in the casket, how clear that was to me was horrifying." And she said, "That was the best gift you could have given him."
Wow.
"What do you mean?" She said, "You extended his life." I'm like, "What?" She said, "You extended his life." My mom ended up passing away 18 months later. And my dad lived to 90. Is there any
That
truth to
is a
it? I don't know, but
miracle, you know?
that's pretty dead on. So,
Yeah.
he
You're
lived
lucky
a good
because
long
so
life.
many spouses don't last much longer after the love of their life crosses
It
over.
What happened was 6 years after my mom passed away. So my dad, he has 3 brothers, all but one buried their 3 out of the 4 buried their firstborns, which was devastating.
Oh,
To see our uncles at these funeral homes was so heartbreaking because they just, sobbing, why couldn't it just be us? Why are they passing away? And they were all under 50. My cousin was 36. My brother was 51, and my other cousin was just over 50. So, you know, um, it's just, how do you explain that? I don't know.
well, listen, this is what I want to ask you. Something I really feel that I got a message from who I don't know, probably somebody
Okay.
on your side of the family, to talk to you about your family because in the short bio you have on your website, well, let me start this way. I get sent documentaries all the time, and this week I happen to get sent 2 documentaries
Mm-hmm.
on exorcism of all things.
Love it.
I don't know why somebody would send me a documentary on exorcism. Um, both were entirely filmed in Italy, and when I started watching the documentary and realized where it was filmed, I immediately thought of you. That was the first one. Then later on, when the second documentary I went to watch,
Mm-hmm.
also filmed in Italy, and I thought of you again. I'm like, I have to ask you, and I had just read your bio. I
Mm-hmm.
have to ask you about your great grandmother, that village, her history with that, because that's just like really.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody has that type of family history, and I find
Oh,
it
on both sides, it's
fascinating.
crazy. Thank you. It's, uh, I've, because of who my father's family is, it was very easy to trace the roots because it's in history. They built Pisa. It was so easy to go back in time. I went all the way to 647
Wow.
AD to find a composer and a musician, and they were always artistic in some way, which is funny because my dad played 7-string instruments without ever being taught, including the violin and the cello, not the cello, sorry, the mandolin, which is the most difficult string instrument to play. And, it runs in the family, but they're artists, but I can't draw, but I do sing, but so does my mom. Anyways, my mother's side, wow, my great grandmother, the reason why there's so little on there is because I've been sort of tossed for even putting it there. I couldn't believe that after all these years, putting that on my bio would cause a rift between myself and some living family members,
Wow.
which my mother's brother said to me, ignore it because they're still in the village. He's been in Milan since he was like 15. He said it's a different way of thinking. He was a deacon, let it go, forgive, blah, blah, blah. The what we should be doing, really. And that's why there's so little of it there. But I didn't find out a lot of things about my grandmother till later on in life. My mother kept that quiet. So I would hear little things. And I remember things like when I was sick, she would say, oh, my grandmother made this, or my grandmother put this together, using herbs and always natural. And I'm like, well, your grandmother sounds a lot like a holistic healer to me. Like, wait a minute, right? Well, that back then wasn't seen as holistic healing, it was seen as witchcraft. So it was a whole other thing. It literally was that whole Strega syndrome, that whole story, that stereotype. And my mom said, there was this black cloud for the longest time. My dad told me more about things when my mom had passed, because of course it was safe for him then.
Yeah.
But and then my aunt, my mom's youngest sister, Elizabeth, was very, very open about it. She didn't care so much as what they thought. And I always said she was the feisty one. She was, I don't know, just different. And she said, you should be proud of what you can do and what you're doing, and use this gift from God to do only good. And you will never be seen in a dark way, which is not true because I've lost a lot of friends. But yeah, my grandmother was one of those people who couldn't go to church after and didn't, but whenever anybody was sick or anything was going really bad, they all sought her out, which is kind of the way I live.
Yeah.
So it's not that
That's
different.
amazing. Have you? How often have you been back there?
I only went the one twice. I went twice. I
How?
never felt
How?
comfortable in
You?
Italy. I'm not going to
Oh,
lie.
really?
Never
Really?
felt comfortable there. Sometimes I wonder if I have a piece of her in me. I'm comfortable everywhere outside of the village. I am not comfortable in that village. And I always
Wow.
said to my
Yeah.
father, I wonder if there's a piece of her in me, because he goes, well, blood is blood. You have the
Yeah.
DNA. I said, yeah, but I always wonder because I'm the only one, everyone's gifted on my mom's side, but I'm the only one who does the work that I do. I don't think that they couldn't if they tried. I just feel that they just didn't choose to. Not that they're any less gifted, nothing like that. Just I'm the only one that, pursued it, which is funny because my great grandmother had that kind of spirit as well.
That's
So,
very interesting. Do you get having the gifts that you have? Do you get much loved one visitation or even ancestral visitation? Uh,
yeah,
you
it,
do?
oh, absolutely started with her and my grandmother.
Yeah.
Started with both of them when I moved out of Toronto and I got married and I moved here in Stony Creek. I was constantly I was home alone and I was in the main floor. I moved an hour away, so I didn't have my job. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know anyone here. And I would hear footsteps going back and forth over my head, which would be from the master bedroom to the front bedroom, the master bedroom to the front bedroom. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I had all those signs that you have in Amityville, the flies, and they would say, oh no, it's because you're just built. So they're in the house. Really? The house walls, everything's been closed for a year. Like, why is this happening? You know, the infestations, the sounds, the scratching and the inside of the walls. They tell me, oh, it's mice. We live in the country. You were just built. Everything had a reason. Explain to me why, when I brought the priest over, that he didn't leave the front carpet of my entrance to bless my house. Explain that one to me. Tell me that's because of construction. Tell me that's because of building,
Yeah.
right? Why? And I said to him, well, Father, come upstairs. And he's like, no, Amelia, I could do it from here. He didn't know me from a hole in the ground, because the parish that I belong to, I went to ask and he wouldn't come. So I went to a different parish where my friend went, introduced myself, and he came the next day. And he said, and I swear he's gifted, he said to me, you are like me, and I felt like I had to help you. I'm looking, thinking, does he have anxiety? That's what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking. Nothing clicked until he wouldn't step past that damn carpet. And it really bothered me.
Wow.
It really bothered me. I'm grateful that the priest that I originally asked to come in didn't come, because I'm not going to lie, I never liked him. Excuse me. Sorry. Friday, I'm always losing my voice because we've been on air quite a bit by then.
Yeah.
I didn't like him. I remember shaking his hand and saying to my husband that, I don't know, but like, I just saw the fires of hell. And he's like,
Wow.
he's using it. I go, no, I don't know. I said, there's so much darkness around him. I don't like him. There's something to do with children. I don't like him. And he said, it's your imagination. You're just upset because he wouldn't come. Yeah, I was upset, but not like that. Well, a few years ago, he got arrested. He's in prison for child molestation. You know, so wasn't that far off. But
Yeah,
I'm
you got to
grateful
listen
he
to
didn't come, because I would have had an issue with that.
Who knows what would have happened if he came?
Well, no, there's been others since, because you can't rely on one blessing when you move into a house. That's what people who have that faith and that belief that I'm going to bless my house when I move in. And I didn't know all the steps of how you had to, you know, register as a parishioner. I didn't know that, because I was born into the church that I belonged to before I moved here. And my mom didn't say anything, but I was going to church every week. This was 2 years in. Why aren't you coming? And he said, you're not registered. You take my envelope, my name is on it. I'm there, you know, and it was really frustrating, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful that there was a sign there that, no, we're not supposed to mix. So I'm glad.
Absolutely.
Who knows what I would have picked up on him
Absolutely.
then.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen to your intuition. Listen to your
Absolutely.
gut.
I go to a bishop when I have issues, and he's Filipino, and he's much older than I am. He should be retired, but he totally he is like totally against what I do.
Oh,
everything, exorcisms, being in the paranormal, and so it's very humbling, extremely humbling and grounding for me to go to see him and have him just beat up on me about that. And I can't tell you how many times I go to homes where the people have already called. They go to a local parish near them or diocese near them. They ask their priest to come out and do blessing. There's been issues.
Yeah.
He doesn't go much further than just your house and property blessing. So somehow they end up finding me. How many times I've driven up to those houses and the priest is outside, actually either in his car or just kind of hanging around the front yard waiting for me to show up so we can just talk, but they don't go in.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's okay. Some people, maybe one day I'll find out in a real sobering way that I shouldn't be. Maybe I haven't ran into the mother lode of demonic haunts yet. God bless.
I hope you don't ever.
Yeah, I hope I don't either. But
I hope Michelle and I don't ever. Although I think Michelle has. You can ask her that next week. I think she has.
You know what I think? Some people who are close to me who have gone with me just for moral support. If I just said, for some reason I just feel like someone should be there to witness this, other than just the family. And I have people that have known me for many, many years say, you change. when you go to these places and do this. You become something else. So and you're like fearless. And what I think happens is, and many times I get done doing whatever it is I've just done in a place, and there's like time lapses where I don't remember everything that happened, and I'm thinking it's just part of my discernment, channeling the Holy Spirit and whoever else comes through, because I know I don't have any magical powers. I'm not the one actually doing anything.
Oh,
I'm
I don't
being
believe
used
I
as a
am either.
vessel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're being used
Yeah.
in a good way,
Yes.
and so I look at it that way. I just kind of let go, let God, and do what I got
Absolutely.
to do. But we're both definitely created to do what we're doing, or we wouldn't be doing it. And I've lost many friends too.
Isn't it
That's what I want to
terrible?
ask you about, because I get people reach out to me all the time. And it has something to do with children also. I know you deal with missing children,
Love
which that
children.
has to be heartbreaking. I
It
couldn't do it.
it's very and I didn't think I could either, but when I was younger, a relative of my mother's lost her child to abduction, and he was molested and tortured for a few days and then dismembered, and I was about 18. So I had to see it in a different light, unlike people who watch it on the news. When it's in your face and you're only 18, think about 18 years old back when we were 18. It's not the 18 of today, it's not the social media. This is horrific. This is horrific on any day. Back then, you're talking about 10 and 12-year-olds that were on buses by themselves, public transit. Everybody knew everybody in the neighborhood, and he was taken knife point from a shopping center. Nobody stopped the person taking him. And he was only 11 years old. So I looked at my mom and I said to her, I go, with all that I can do, how the hell did I not see this? It was just one of those things. And I did say, why didn't God tell me? Why didn't someone who died tell me where he was? Maybe we could have stopped this. Like you start to take that responsibility
Yeah.
on, and then I was really, really afraid, and I put it off for a while, and I've had several NDEs, and finally it was just like, you can't do this anymore. It's so funny because I used to grow up wishing I was psychic. Not so much anymore. But I used to wish that I could do things like that, not knowing that I could. I would always hope. I always just thought I had really good intuition.
Yeah.
And I was just good at picking people off, or it was like a knowing. I didn't realize till as I got older.
What do you find the main reason why most of these children are abducted? Is it um, just to be murdered? Is it just to be sexually abused and then murdered? Is it to put into the human slave racket?
Oh
What
my
is?
gosh, all of the above. But the whole thing is, you have to look at age groups, and first and foremost, the abductions, more than 60 to 70% of the time, are done by the other parent, done by a parent.
Very
Those are
interesting.
custody battles and things like that. I had one case where a nurse took a newborn from the house after a week of it being in the hospital because she had lost a baby that week, and she shot and killed the mother and took the 6-week-old baby, and we had to
Wow.
track this baby down all the way to Texas. Like, it's just, everything is different. I do a lot of work with sex trafficking only because of my ability to remote view, and that if it helps, I'm going to do it. But I do need to be on it within reason. It can't be a cold case, because I will have to rewind everything and start over. When I work cold cases, I start it almost like law enforcement. I will put pictures all over the wall, and I will start, stringing and reading each and every photograph of everyone involved, or anyone that was not necessarily involved in the crime, but even around the victim that day or the weeks before. It takes time when
Yeah.
it's a cold case. It's really hard. The energy isn't prevalent. You cannot pick up, per se, like breadcrumbs are not the same. Just like anything, the first 4 hours a child is missing are so vital. There's a reason for it. The trail goes cold. It does for us as well. So the sooner I get it, the better it is. And sometimes if I can't, I will send it to someone else. I will always make sure that someone has them. I've always had a mediator, and I don't have that group. I'm not with that group anymore because working with Michelle is a whole other story. So I only take cases that are what we call hot within the first 24 hours to 48 hours. I'll take them and I'll work them as long as I can. And sometimes that means working with the police and sending them on a trail to find these other people. And sometimes sometimes it's recovery, which is really sad. But I find that in the ages, for one thing, a lot of people misunderstand and believe that because they have boys, they don't have to be concerned. Let me tell you, this is not a sexually precious crime. Okay. If you first of all, boys are abducted all the way up to about 8, 9 years old. Sometimes older, you'll have them sex trafficked. When they're abducted young, they're literally put in containers, if people know what containers are, that go on cargo ships and shipped out. And I won't say, well, one country is Thailand, but they're shipped out east because it's actually legal to prostitute them.
Wow.
So that's one type. Slavery is another type. If you look at the series of the 400 highways in Canada that stretch out and start from the far east and go all the way down along Ontario, Quebec, Ontario, and go through Buffalo into the US, and then all of a sudden becomes I-95, and the 95s take down all the way to Texas, you're going to find a trail of children that are being prostituted in these hotels that are along these highways and these interstates. That's where they are, a lot of them. And they transport them from state to state so they don't have any trouble, and they change vehicles. There's a lot to it. So it's a lot of, you can't just go by reading a photograph. You have to understand the crime as well so that you know what you're looking for, not just a picture of the child. I think it's really important to do the research on sex trafficking and where you want to put if you have the ability and you want to work this, there is always spaces open. Just make sure you find a group that's credible and has integrity, which is hard. It's not easy. Police officers will not take your word for anything. And if anything, a lot of times the mediums become suspect. So you have to be careful. You need a mediator.
I was just about to say that I wish, well, one thing, I know that all these people that are responsible for doing all these horrific things are going to have judgment one day. Having said that, I wish that more law enforcement was widely more accepting of psychics. I would like to see a truly gifted psychic like you in every police station as just part of their weaponry in battling, crime.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, after all of this time in the year 2021, it's not more widely accepted. I know many detectives that have told me, "Oh yeah, well it's just like anything. It's like undercover cops have their snitches." But some detectives have they're on the side, behind the scenes psychics that they go to and talk to, and they don't let their coworkers know about it because
I don't believe that completely. um, what you have to understand is that sex trafficking is better than drug trafficking because they don't have a product to transport. They can't be caught with anything, and if they are, they're in and out. They're bailed out right away, and the charges are usually dropped, or they get a slap on the wrist.
Wow.
This doesn't start at the bottom; it starts at the top.
Really?
So this is not something that is that easily done. For a long time, when I did this work, I knew a man named Bishop Bailey, and if you look him up, he's in hiding now. He was a 1%er who worked with, was in prison, found God, worked with the FBI, went back undercover, and I have his books. And I interviewed him several times, and he's underground now because he's got so many hits out on his head. Because
when you say 1%er, you mean biker?
Yeah, and he was Oh my gosh. Part of one of the biggest takedowns in history not long ago. So he had to go into hiding, and he was always with a mask and always with, secured and everything like that. And I interviewed him about 5-6 years ago with Bobby Brown when I was working with Bobby, and brought him on the show. And he's an incredible man, and he will tell you there is way too much corruption. You can bring on a million psychics, it won't make a difference. They'll start pegging them off. You have to be very careful
Really?
in this industry. You
Wow.
cannot. I left it a long time ago, because a long time ago, for me, it feels like a long time. It's only been 3 years, because I started working malevolent hauntings with Michelle and putting my gifts towards trying to save children in a different way. Um, it wears on you as a psychic. That's why we need so many people on a team, because it's always the same 3-4 people that are responding, because everybody has lives, right? So you give this time. I was working 24/7. I was on call 24/7 for almost 7 years. That's a long time to be on call and to look at crime scene photos. And for all the children that came home, yes, there's quite a few. I don't give the number because it's not about that. Um, but I look at how many were rescue and recovery, and that's heartbreaking, and it's really hard. I made the biggest mistake of working directly with families first, which was the biggest mistake I could have ever made, especially with broken families, divorced couples. It was just crazy. It was so intense, and not fair to everyone, because you're in the middle kind of thing. It's so important to get a mediator to protect you. I stayed anonymous for a long, long time. You will not see my name on certain cases that I have worked. You will never see my name in Canada to protect my own child. You'll
Absolutely.
never see my name on a case. I've worked behind the scenes, but you'll never see it. There's a reason for it. There's a lot of reasons. And you have to be able to trust the law enforcement that you're working with as well. I'm direct contact with law enforcement here only because they happen to be friends. That's the only reason why. But I would never go, especially in Canada. It's not as accepted. I think the US is more accepting of it than Canada is. You have to find the right
Very
person,
interesting.
but you have to remember that sex trafficking goes to the top. It goes to politicians. It goes to so much higher than politicians, country leaders. And I'm not talking about political leaders. Think about it. So there's a lot to truth to that. Those conspiracy theories that I won't mention right now, because sometimes they get fed the wrong way, and they don't come out in the benefit of the children that are missing. But it really does have a lot of truth. There's a lot of truth to that. It's heartbreaking.
It's amazing to see you now where you're at. And I can imagine uh, the young girl, Amelia. Um, what, where do you feel your information is coming from? Is it some type of source energy? Is it spirit guides? And when did you realize? When did you finally say this is more than me just having good intuition? Um,
Probably my first NGE, my 20s. I kind of knew what was going on. And then it's funny, because my entire life I've had 2 readings by psychics. I've never been one to want to partake in that. And it's hilarious, because I will give people messages in a heartbeat. Um, they would all say to me, both of them have said to me, "You're so highly gifted, I can't penetrate that wall. Can you take it down so I can talk to you?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So it was one of those things. I didn't know how to use it. I knew I had a gift, because my mother, first of all, I would have to say, in my teens when I attempted suicide, and I've talked about this openly on our show, on the Outer Realm with Michelle, because it's important that back then, you have to understand, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have paranormal shows on TV. I was growing up and going to school as a Roman Catholic. It was different. I had no one to talk to. I was hearing things, and I thought I was losing my freaking mind. I couldn't fit in. I felt so different. I was afraid to talk about anything to do with paranormal with any of my friends, because then they weren't allowed to talk to me anymore. It was hard. So I attempted suicide twice in 10
well,
months.
Don't
And
do that anymore.
oh my gosh, no. But it was a different time,
Yeah.
and that's when I realized, because my mother sat
You
down
have
with me.
children? I'm sorry to interrupt
I
you.
have
Do
a
you have
daughter, yes. I have a daughter who's 24. I'm very proud of her, and she's
is she gifted?
yeah, doesn't want anything to do with it. Doesn't want anything to do with it. I always say, well, it's the reason why you're so successful in life. I'm just saying. But anyways, she has her own agency. She's PR and she works with NHL players. So she's doing really well. I'm proud of her. She's a good kid, But no, she doesn't want anything to do with it. If all of a sudden I just stop and I'm looking at something, she'll just look at me and go, "What? What was that? What are you looking at?" And I just laugh, nothing, and I clear it,
I
get it out
wish
of
I
there.
wish it wasn't the way you just explained it, and it was similar for me, and it is similar for just about everybody I talked to growing up with some type of psychic gift.
Yeah.
What for all of the parents out there, I don't have any children, not that I know of. For all of you being a parent and the relationship you had with your mother and knowing your family history and how you grew up, for all of the parents out
Yeah.
there, whether they're gifted or not, but suspect that they have a child that's gifted, what advice do you have for them on how to approach um, this
They can call
situation?
me. I do mentor children. I love helping because there is an age where it's okay to answer questions. And I always say, handle it like sex ed. You only answer what they need to know. They don't need the whole story. So don't ignore them, because my mother did that. My mother made me feel like I was going crazy, and that if I told anybody, they would put me in a straitjacket and I wouldn't be able to have a normal life. That's how I was made to feel for a long time. My own brothers didn't know much about what I was going through because there's such a big age gap between us. When I call it coming out of the closet, so to speak, one knew, the other two were just like, what is going on with you? Like, what are you talking about? When did this, like those kind of questions? I'm like, well, this happened and I don't know, mommy didn't tell you. Like it was one of those, like a little, like we were little kids again, like I was a little kid again. Um, it's important to listen to what they have to say. And sometimes it's just curiosity. Don't assume that it's a gift. And if you're having trouble, contact Michelle and I. We take on cases, we help everybody. We don't charge either. You can contact the outer realm. It's called the outer realm contact at gmail.com is the email.
Very
And
cool.
Michelle will look at it. If you're looking for a mentor, make sure they're credible, make sure they have integrity. Don't just go to anybody. Never pay for it. I'm going to tell you that right now. Never pay for it. If you have any questions, you can contact me. Go on my website. There's a contact there for emails, and I will be more than happy to help you. And if I can't help you, I will find someone who can. And I always will, because I don't ever want to see a child go through not what I went through, because I don't know if that would happen. I pray to God it doesn't. But I think it's a little different. I think they'll get into trouble now because of the internet and because of the
Yeah.
paranormal shows. The things that we see that are so common right now are phone apps. Pay attention to your children's phones. They can have a Ouija board on their phone. They can have an EMF detector on their phone. Simply just recording, and communicating is an invitation.
Yeah.
Understand it, do your research before you speak to them. And never, never, ever, ever, ever tell them it's nothing. Never.
I happen to
Watch
have
out for
your
imaginary friends.
yeah. I happen to have your paranormal partner in crime showing up here next week.
Yes.
So
Yes. My
that'll be fun.
bestie.
Tell
Yep.
everybody about that show, the nights that they can listen to you and
Oh,
where they can
wow.
listen to it at.
Yeah, it's so funny because it started off. She'll tell you all about that as a Q&A between her and Jack Kenna, and I was actually the person behind the scenes just producing. And then Jack said he was a better guest than he was a host, and he didn't want to do it anymore. And Michelle asked me to be a part of that, and we have been going strong. We will be hitting our 200th episode in January. We do 2
Wow.
shows a week. We're on Wednesday and Thursday nights. It's called The Outer Realm with Michelle Derochers and myself. Amelia Pisano, and we're on United Public Radio. You can find us on our Facebook pages. We're on all streaming platforms. And I'll let her tell you about the shows that she does outside of the shows that we do together. And we also do a paranormal panel on Mondays for the network with all the hosts of the network. So
Well,
you
that's
can join in
cool.
there too. Yeah. We're
That's
also
very
on
cool.
StreamYard, which is really great. We love this. We love StreamYard.
When are
Yeah.
we going to get? Oh my gosh! I mean, it's you probably have to do more than one because if you do one and try and cram your life history into it, it's going to look like War and Peace. Can we expect a bit of literature in the future from you?
Oh, I have the person who wrote my bio is one of my closest friends, Corinne Champagne, and she is a writer. You would love her. You would love her. She wrote an inspirational book called That Moment. It's all based on short stories, true life experiences. You have to read that book. You'll love it.
Very
She's
cool.
been bugging me for the longest time. I think I'm just not I don't have enough in my life for that. I don't think anybody would want to read it, to be honest.
Oh, I thought the same thing too, but
Yeah.
it was spirit was making me,
Your life is
and
interesting.
well, I had to do it. But they were
Yeah.
on me to do it, and I
Yeah.
could not do it. I went years and years and years fighting it. Finally, I said the only way I'm going to get them to back off and shut up, get out of my head, is to just do it. Um,
Yeah, I don't even do interviews, There was something about you that I really liked, and I asked Michelle about you, and she was like, "He's such a nice man. You have to do
well, I'm
something."
going to start
Okay,
introducing myself as the fabulous fellow. I
the
love
fabulous fella. Yes, the fabulous fella.
I know what I want to ask you. It has nothing to do with the paranormal.
Sure.
You're Italian,
Yep.
um, Pisano.
Yes.
Do you like pizza?
Oh my God, it's my world.
Oh my God! My
It's like
wife has
you
had
haven't
me
been
on
on
new.
my timeline.
Well,
I,
my wife has had me on Nutrisystem the past month. Just when I was thinking I'm going to get a little break, my month two supply shows up. I'm like, geez. But yeah,
oh,
that is my
there's a cheat date on everybody's diet. I live
oh,
for the most part by keto,
you
and
cook
I
it. Can you
do.
cook?
Oh my God. My father, I'll tell you, my father wanted me to be a chef. He was the right hand man for Isidore Sharp, who is the Four Seasons Hotel. I grew up under their wing, so to speak. And Max Sharp was the person that hired my dad. And then my dad worked with Isidore. And I never knew who they were till I was in my 20s. I just thought that those are dad's bosses. I went swimming at their house, and that was it. Um, yeah. But yeah, he wanted me to work because I would have been guaranteed a job. I would have been guaranteed a position. But again, we're talking about a time where when I was in my late teens, which is when he wanted to send me to Halifax, Nova Scotia, has Culinary Institute there of Canada. And I didn't want to because no one was in the field then. A woman was not in that field.
Really?
There were few and far in between. The first female executive chef in the Four Seasons was Lynn Crawford, she's on all over Food Network now in many shows, especially in Canada because she is Canadian. She was the first one, and she's very well known and incredibly gifted. I have a very thin skin, which is another reason why I hate doing TV. I hate cameras. I have a very thin skin, and I don't know if you've ever been in a professional kitchen. It's not far from Gordon Ramsay's world. And I spent a lot of time in those kitchens because my dad's office was at the hotel. So I would, on a Saturday, if he had to go in, my father was in charge of building. And on a Saturday, he had to go in, I would go, of course, as a little girl, to the pastry kitchen. I wasn't going to the other one. It was a lot quieter. It was a lot quieter. And that's where my dad wanted me. I love to cook. I feel like I'm
It's
loving
very
people
the
when I
best
cook.
cooks are very spiritual, soulful
Yeah.
people,
Are they? Yeah.
and yeah, and I can see that in you. And okay, let's just break it down in the short amount of time we have left.
Sure.
Give us a couple of keys, because I would never make a homemade pizza, and
It's
even
so easy.
well, I do, but I mean, I would never make one and put it up against yours.
Oh, no,
But
you could. I could give
what
you a recipe and yours would taste exactly like mine.
give us the keys to a knock your socks off,
Pizza dough?
homemade, authentic. Pisano, pizza, that you'll never want to go out and get Domino's or Pizza
Oh
Hut again.
God, anybody who's eaten my pizza doesn't want to go out. I don't want to go out. Rest the dough, 00 flour, get yourself a really
Oh, I don't have
good.
any notes here.
I'll send you
Okay,
the recipe.
please,
And
please.
Naples, I have a recipe for dough from Naples, Italy, from an award-winning
Oh no,
pizza
no, no,
maker.
Neapolitan
And
style.
yes, very much.
Oh,
And you know what is a really good trick with the oven? You can get it at Amazon. It's called a pizza steel. You don't have to buy a wood burning oven. It's called a pizza steel. You put that in your oven and you season it like you do cast iron, but it's not as complicated to keep clean. And it gives your pizza a charred look on the outside, and it cooks. It raises the temperature of your oven. So when you put it to 500, it's really like 600, which is a pizza oven is between 6 and 8, sometimes 9, depending if it's wood burning, and it comes out the same. And this dough can be made ahead of time and kept to slow rise in your fridge for days. I'll send it to you.
really?
Yes, it's
Toppings,
the
favorite
best.
toppings.
Minimal. Fresh
Minimal.
tomatoes, strained tomatoes, and if you can, you want to get muti. They're in a bottle, glass bottle. You can get them on Amazon in the States. I'm well aware of it. And a really good mozzarella, high fat. Don't put your basil on until it comes out later. The less is more in Italy. We do not. If you see a lot of toppings on a pizza in Italy, it's because you're in a tourist attraction. It's not. It's not authentic.
So
Yeah,
it's like a. So I'm thinking Neapolitan style. Did
margherita.
was that margarita? Okay.
Yep, for the Queen Margarita. That is my absolute favorite pizza. You take the pureed tomatoes, and they have to be from Italy. I'm not gonna lie, they have to be. Muti is the best, the highest quality standard. It's not expensive. Pureed tomatoes straight on the dough, just one ladle on a 10-inch. You don't need a lot. A little bit of sea salt, and you plop your fresh mozzarella or your mozzarella high fat. Okay, it's important,
Mm,
not like 6 minutes, super,
you're
super thin, 6 minutes in the oven, take it out, and it's go time.
you're
It's my
killing
favorite food. Ask Michelle. She'll tell you
you're
it's
killing me here.
crazy. I had a pizza night, just her and I, one night, and she was dying.
You could do a cook. I've even been asked. My producer Adrienne Hart is going to
Yeah.
put together a cookbook. I
Yeah.
sent her a recipe for my mother was Brazilian. The
Oh,
one the
nice.
one killer Brazilian dish she taught me. I sent that to them to put into the book. I've
Yeah.
thought about doing a cookbook. You've got to at least do one of those.
That's
Come
what
on.
that's what that's what Corinne wants to do, cooking with the psychic styles. I'm like, oh my God, Corinne, I can't. I don't have the. I've been asked to do classes at my house. I don't have the measurement thing going. I'm very much
Cares. You
old
know, but
school where
you
I'm like,
know.
just feel it,
You
and
just you speak it from your heart and say,
I love
you stick your
cooking.
hand in the salt and grab a punch of it and
Yeah,
boom.
yeah.
That's
You
what I
just
want
have
to read. I
to
don't want to
just a little
read
bit.
get a quarter of this and an eighth of that. I don't
No,
want to
but
read
the
that stuff.
dough is a precise science. The dough is a science.
But
Everything is
what
weighed.
kind of dough is it?
It's the Neapolitan pizza dough. But I also
Oh,
make bread. I also do breadsticks. I make everything from scratch,
oh
right
my
down to
gosh.
gelato. But it's a problem. It's why I have a gym in my house.
Oh my
Like,
God.
how do you eat that way? You should see the mileage on my treadmill. That's all I'm going to say.
We're about to get cut off here. I
Thank
love
you.
you. I
Love you
respect
too.
you. I can't wait to
Same.
get the recipe. Did
Yep,
you
I'll
have
send it to
fun
you
when you
right now.
come back?
Oh my gosh, I'll come every week if you want. Thank you.
You
It
have
was a
a
lot of fun.
wonderful. I'm going to keep you in my prayers, your
Thank
mother and your
you.
father in my prayers. Um,
Thank you.
uh, God bless you for spending an hour with me and my
It was
viewers today. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful remainder of your Friday evening and your
thank you. You
weekend.
too.
And if I don't talk to you before Thanksgiving, a wonderful
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
we've had ours, but a happy Thanksgiving to you. Ours is in October.
Oh,
Yeah.
very cool. Very cool. I
Yes.
did not know that.
Yep. 30, almost 60 years before the US. It was a harvest dinner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Amelia, God bless you. Have a wonderful
You
evening. I'll
too.
talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you for having me. I know how to let
Welcome.
myself out.
I'll see you later. Oh, I learned something new every day. I didn't know they had Thanksgiving before us, and I can't wait to get that pizza recipe, and I'm going to put my foot down. My wife is the boss. I know that. But after 2 months of Nutrisystem, I'm going to start making some pizza again. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I know I say that a lot, but I mean it. Thank you to my beautiful, passionate, talented producer, Adrienne Hart, Ghost Granny, Desert Heart Paranormal. She's also a bigwig at the PUN TV, Paranormal United Network. Thank you for simulcasting my show. Go there and check out their lineup on their Facebook Live page. Thank you to Things Network, my first episode being simulcast on the Things Network. Go there, check them out. Thank you to everybody. I'll be back next Friday the 12th with Michelle Derochers, who is the paranormal partner in crime of Amelia's. So that show's going to rock, live from New Orleans, one of my favorite towns on the planet. So that show is going to rock. Everybody have a blessed week. I'll leave you with this. St. Paul said, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, generosity, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law." Galatians. I love you all. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. Peace. I'll be watching. Good night, everybody.